Alright, in this video I'll show you how to remove the complete dashboard out of a 16 Ram. This is a 2500. So we have the seats out, you don't need them. You could leave them inside, we just remove them if it's more room for us and we're still taking them out, so it's just easier to record around them. So we're going to be taking off the center console first. It's a 10mm bolt. So you pop this cover out. Alright, make sure you get that one out as well. Just using a Phillips. Alright, now so there's going to be some bolts hiding under this little rubber tray. Okay. So far 2 Phillips. So you're gonna have this plug, you're gonna have to disconnect it. It's under the driver's seat. So there's 2 plugs. That one's already disconnected. Alright, another 10mm. Okay, so another 10mm on the bottom and that Phillips on top. Alright, so now you just lift it up and pull it back. You have a few more plugs. That one is on the bottom, the clip. It has a safety lock on it as well. So once you release the safety lock, the red tab, it unlocks it and then you could just press on it, it pops out. Alright, so there goes your airbag module underneath the center console. Alright, so it's 10mm bolt. Alright, so same thing on the driver's side, it's just that bolt is broken, so we're not going to screw it. So we're taking off the ground. Plug in this wire. So this wire, it's gonna loop down to the dashboard, so when you're pulling the dashboard it's gonna be a complete set. So now this wire is underneath the carpet and it sits on these types of little clips, so you're gonna have to pop them out. I think there's a few of them running underneath the carpet, so you're gonna have to kind of find them. Feeding the wire through the carpet to pull it out on the other side. Alright, make sure you center the wheels, that way you don't rip the clock spring later. We're using 7mm bolts socket to remove the lower knee panel. 2 screws. Okay, it's just held by clips. So just press on those on both sides. Alright, so from the other side you press on this clip and it should pull out. It's a little tricky, but just spend some time with it, you'll see it. It releases it right there. Alright, so now we're gonna disconnect the shifter cable. Okay, well, this one kind of happened too fast, but basically pop this off the shifter lever and this off the bracket right there. So two sides. And that's the bracket. Alright, so now we're going to remove the e-brake. Alright, so this one's a little tricky for me to record while it's going to be removed. So we're removing that steering column bolt right there. It's a 13mm bolt that goes through it. So once you remove it, it releases it. We're taking the whole steering column apart, well, complete with the dashboard out. So you'll see. And again, make sure you straighten the wheels out and secure the steering wheel, because if you don't, you'll rip the clock spring, and they're pretty pricey. And it's just we can't turn the wheels out too straight right now, so we're gonna have to do it like this at least. Alright, so now we're using a 15mm socket. So now there's two more right there. It's kind of hard to see them. You have to take those out as well. We're using a long extension with the 15mm. So for the one that's hard to get to it, what we did is we took off the socket, put it on the bolt, and pulled in the extension, because it wouldn't fit through that little rail. And that's the bolts. Alright, there's a hidden bolt. It's on top. It's a 15mm. So straight up on top. Don't miss that one. So it's kind of tough to get to that bolt. We're using this swivel converter, so you could kind of get around the steering column. Alright, so this is the bolt that's all the way on top. It's kind of hard to get to it. Make sure you take this one out. So now we're going to be pulling off, disconnecting those plugs. It's very difficult to record it, so I'm doing my best. And make sure you disconnect the plug for the gas pedal, the accelerator. It's a little tricky on that one, so just don't forget about it, because it will be in the way. And the brake pedal as well, the sensor. Alright, so there's going to be two plastic windows on top of the dashboard. This side, passenger side, and same thing with the driver's side. You're going to have to pop them out, and there's going to be screws in there. We use a razor. It's thinner and it pops it out easier, cleaner, without damaging it. So just whatever you like to use. So there's the other one. Okay, so we're using a 10mm. Just careful not to crack the glass. This is where the Milwaukee's side wrench, or whatever you call them, comes very handy. So on both sides we're popping out these covers. So 3 bolts, I think they're 13mm. And make sure you disconnect this plug as well. This wire goes to the roof through the A-pillars, so it's gonna stay behind. Once you pull the dashboard, it's gonna stay with the car. Alright, so similar on the passenger side as well, popping out the cover. Alright, so we got a wire that needs to be disconnected here as well. This goes to the roof as well. So there's a safety pin, the red pin, locks it in. Then just pull back the weather strips and you'll see the bolts. 2 bolts. And this side has 2. Okay. So on the passenger side, we're gonna have to remove this kick panel, the lower one. And there's going to be plugs behind it. It just pulls back towards the car. That's the guider clips. And these clips pop out first, and then you pull it back. Alright, so that's the 2 plugs you're going to be disconnecting. Don't remember exactly which one does not need to be disconnected, but we're still gonna disconnect all of them. So later you'll see which one could stay behind. I just don't remember. And there's a 3rd one up there. And there's gonna be a bolt that needs to be unscrewed as well in this area. Right there, it's hiding. So it's a 13mm bolt. And in the center console we miss the 2 bolts right here. Okay, and there should be another one on the other side as well. Alright, so now we're gonna remove the A-pillar covers, both sides. And there's 2 10mm on each side. Okay, so this one just pops out, pull it up, and it slides out. Alright, so same thing for our passenger side. Alright, so we're using 2 people to pop this out. There's going to be more wiring that's going to need to be disconnected, so you can't fully take it out just yet. Alright, so I can't really record this part, but there's a wire that goes over the brake pedal bucket, whatever you want to call it, the aluminum piece. So you're going to have to disconnect it. I just can't get to it right now. Alright, so we forgot to disconnect this to the hydro booster. So you have to pop out this little silver clip from the brake pedal and pop it off the brake pedal. I forgot about it. And on the passenger side, under the A-pillar, we forgot to disconnect, I believe, this wire. So this should stay with the dashboard. So you're gonna have to pop this out right here. I think it's the antenna wire. Alright, so this is the plug we're telling you about. The wiring runs above this, so you have to pop out those clips all around it. The only way to get to it is like when you pull the dashboard back, and then you're able to access it. Alright, try to get this recorded. So we got another wire. That's the driver's side, so just pay attention to that. Alright, so once you pull the dashboard, you have access to the heater core. This is what it looks like. So this is the dashboard. This is the whole brake pedal assembly